you have to decide to have the life of your dreams. Now, deciding that you're going to commit to actually making a change is the first step to actually making a change in your life. Now, it sounds really simple, but when you put it into action, it can be one of the most challenging parts of any type of success that you want to see in your life. Welcome to the Fire Inside podcast. I know that there's a fire in your heart and there's ambition in your soul. I know what you want to do, and I know you need to make a change to get there, and you want to do it with more ease. But for some reason you haven't gotten there just yet. That is exactly what we tackle on this podcast. All things personal development, time management, and leveling up so you can become your best, highest self. If that's what you're all about, then you're going to love this podcast. This podcast is your weekly reminder to stop playing small, start living fully, whether it's career, wellness, relationships, your personal goals. We cover the strategy and the mindset shifts that you need to make to see that change actually come to fruition in your life. I'm your host, Sade Kelly, a New Yorker living in Atlanta, wife, mom, and founder and CEO of The Fire Inside. At The Fire Inside, I am a time management coach, and I specifically help ambitious women successfully manage their time so they can balance their work, their wellness, and relationships the way they want to. Do it peacefully without sacrificing their self-care. In today's episode, I'm going to cover one of the toughest parts of achieving any goal, deciding and actually committing and showing up by taking the actions needed to achieve any and every goal that you want. Now, I am someone who has learned very quickly that success comes from first doing and committing, but also making a lot of mistakes along the way and continuously getting back up. So I'm really passionate about this episode today because I know firsthand that in order to see any change in your life, you have to decide to make a change. Most people finally decide to make a change when their current state is worse than the pain of actually making a change. So when you get to that point of friction, when you're realizing what I'm currently doing is just absolutely not working, and I know that making a change is going to be hard, but it cannot be as hard as where I'm currently at. That is an amazing place to be. I know it's if you're in that place and when you've been in that place, it doesn't feel like an amazing place to be, but I promise you it is one of the best places you can be, because that's when you decide, okay, I'm going to make this change. I'm going to commit no matter what to actually making a change. And with anything you want to achieve in your life, you have to commit first. And I want to talk about what it takes to actually commit, because I think for some people, and I think I've actually felt this myself too, where we're just waiting for the right time. We're waiting for that point. We're waiting for like that miraculous moment. We're waiting for luck to come into our life, and none of those things are ever going to come. Let me tell you, success does not come by luck. It comes by doing the hard, continuous, consistent work. And you also can never wait for the right time. Waiting for the right time in your life is like getting in your car, deciding you're going somewhere, but you're only going to leave when all the lights turn green. Are all the lights ever going to turn green? Heck no. They're never all going to turn green. So you have to just turn the engine on and get going to wherever you're going to go and see how it goes along the way. You know you're going to make it to your destination if you strongly believe it and if you keep going. How long it's going to take kind of depends, right? Sometimes we can set amazing goals. It doesn't mean they're actually going to happen in the time frame we want, but most of the time they're eventually going to happen, and they're going to happen on God's timing, or whoever you like to believe in's timing. I know some people on here may not believe in a God, but at the end of the day, things are going to happen in the time and they're supposed to happen. It's your job to just do the work. It's your job to just decide and actually commit and have that self accountability to follow through on things. Of course, I'm not going to just preach all of these things. I'm going to share personal stories as well as some actionable takeaways to help you start making the decisions and committing to the actions that you need to take so you can achieve any success you want in your life. So one of the toughest decisions that I had to make was learning how to actually prioritize my health. Now, I was always someone who could get the job done. I was good in school. I knew how to be a good student. I knew how to achieve things. But for some reason, when it came to weight loss, I just struggled. So in high school, I was able to keep a good steady weight. I would say I was fairly slim, like slim thick, if you knew me back then. But When I got to college, I was such a stereotype. I gained that freshman 15, which is, when you think about it, it makes sense, right? We go from eating home cooked meals and takeout here and there to basically having access to all the takeout you ever want, to cafeteria food where you have all the choices you ever could make. And even though I knew what foods I should gravitate towards, I still would eat whatever I wanted, because in college you're in this environment where it's just higher stress and you have all these choices and you have all these things you got to be doing and you're away from home for the first time. So naturally, I think I gained definitely the freshman 15 and probably a little bit more during my freshman year. And I decided by the end of the freshman year that I needed to lose weight, right? But I didn't know exactly how I was going to go about it. I knew I would exercise. I knew I would eat better, whatever that meant. And I also knew that I needed to know where I was going, because like any other goal I've said, I needed to just know where I was going, and then I would get there, I would take some actions, and it would all happen, right? Funny, I actually had this Word doc that I had put together, and I called it my Nicki B body, right? Because at that time, Nicki Minaj and Beyonce were like my icons. They were really big back in like whatever, 2011, 2012. I mean, they're still big now, but like they were like the it girls at that time. And I was like, I want to have a body like them. Looking back, they both had fake bodies, right? Like we know they have plastic surgery, so like, girl, hello. But then I didn't know that. So in my head, I was like, I just want to have a Nicki Minaj, Beyonce body. I want to look like that. I know I could get there. I just got to figure out this workout thing, right? So what I started doing was working out. I would go to the gym here and there on campus. I would kind of sort of eat well, try to prioritize vegetables and lower my carbs, but I really wasn't seeing much progress. My weight was up and down all throughout college. Fast forward to when I graduated in 2015, I decided, okay, girl, you are like still overweight, at least 30 pounds overweight now. Now, you guys know, if you watched episode 1 or if you listened to episode 1, that I was going through a lot in 2015. I had a lot of grief going on. I was transitioning into like adulting. I had lost friends, and I broke up with my ex, like my boyfriend at that time. Like, it was a lot going on in 2015. So of course I then also gained probably another 15 from that freshman 15. So at this point I was like 30 pounds overweight. I go to the doctor. I remember it was in the summer. And what's funny is my husband now was my friend back then, and he was actually the one for some reason who drove me to the doctor. I don't know. We would just randomly hang out. He was an entrepreneur at the time, or he was working for a school. I don't remember exactly where he was, but he pretty much had a lot of free time. And he was like, you know what, I'll drive you. I'll take you to the doctor. And I remember I went in and did my test or whatever, and I got my results like fairly quickly. I think I got them like within the same week. And come to find out, you guys, I was pre-diabetic at 21 years old. Now, I just think that is absolutely absurd. Like, looking back, I was devastated. I think I cried in front of him. Like, looking back, I'm like, you probably thought I was crazy. You're not crazy enough to not marry me, because we're together now. But like, it was just so wild to me that I was pre-diabetic at 21. Now, I had high cholesterol at like age 16, but that was because I just ate so much bacon, and it was like absurd. I would eat like plates of bacon. I loved bacon. And then I realized, okay, just stop eating the bacon and your cholesterol will go down, which is what happened because I was 16. Like, naturally, it was so easy. So getting this diagnosis at 21, I was like, oh my gosh, Sade, you need to get your health together. I took it to myself in third person. Because if you don't decide to get your health together, like, things are only going to get worse. You have high blood pressure in your family, you have diabetes in your family, you have high cholesterol, high blood, like, you know, all the things. Like, I'm black. Like, let's be real. Like, black people will be having all the things sometimes, certain diseases. And I knew that like a lot of it came down to diet and just having extra fat. Like, no matter if you're body positive or not, like, I love yourself, but also know that you have to be healthy. Like, there's just certain standards of health that you just have to have, right? So at that time, I got this diagnosis, and I was like, okay, something has to change, Sade. You have to not only just like decide, but you need to commit, right? Because in the past, in college, when I was trying to get that Nicki B body or whatever, I did decide that I was going to make a change. I decided I want to look like that, but I didn't commit to the actions, right? There's one thing about deciding and saying you're going to do something. Committing is actually doing it. It's actually showing up. It's the discipline. It's the consistency. It's the I'm going to do this and accomplish this no matter what. And some things I did to start committing was I figured out not only who I wanted to look like, but I discussed and really got to a place where I figured out why it was important, right? I thought about what is my core desire? What do I really want? I want to have more energy. I want to have better health. I want to not only look good and feel good in my body, but I want to look good and feel good when I look at myself holistically. Like I want all my numbers at the doctor to be good. I just know that's what I want because I want to live a long life. I know I have so much to impact. I know I want to inspire, and I need to be here in order to do that. And I know I need to make control of my health, right? And then I thought about, okay, what are you fearful about? Like, what are the things that are scaring you right now based on where you currently are, right? So I got to this point where I realized, okay, the change is actually not as painful as where I currently am. I'm currently pre-diabetic. I may get more health issues. I'm like not in a great place mentally. My mood is off. My energy is lower. I'm a bit more sluggish. I'm a bit less motivated. Like it was just negatively impacting me in all ways. So why not make the change? So what the change actually looked like was, okay, I needed to stand on business, right? And that is my first tip for anyone who's deciding to commit to achieving their goals. You got to stand on business. You got to figure out what you need to do, even if it's hard. You got to work on that mental toughness and face your fears head on. I had a fear of going to the gym because I was like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing at the gym. So the first thing I did naturally, because I'm a girl, right? I went onto Amazon and bought some cute gym clothes, right? I bought some cute gym clothes because I was like, if anything, I need to at least feel good and look good at the gym. I wasn't going to sit here and have on a little sports bra and little shorts. My body was not there yet, okay? So I sat there and got a nice shirt that was a little baggy, so I felt more comfortable, and some tight leggings, and I figured it out and got it done. So what I decided was, okay, you're going to sign up for a gym. So I signed up for Planet Fitness. It was the lowest cost gym. It was actually the closest to my job, and it was also close to my house. So there was no excuses. I was going to pass this gym. It was cheap. I wanted to go there. Next thing I did was I got an accountability partner. So since my friend, who my husband, but he was my friend at the time, he decided, you know what, I'll go to the gym with you here and there. Even though he was not a fan of Planet Fitness, he had a LA Fitness, he was fancy, he had a LA Fitness membership, but he was like, I'll come with you to Planet Fitness here and there. I think he just wanted to hang out with me, and I feel like the gym is a great place to hang out because you can kind of touch each other, flirt a little bit, whatever. It was motivation to go to the gym. And also, I wanted him to like fake be my trainer and teach me things, because I knew he wasn't a real trainer, but he had a good body, so I was like, okay. And if you're watching this, he'll be like, I know you're probably laughing at all of this, but whatever. So we go to the gym, and if you hear my child in the background, I think he just woke up from a nap. Y'all know what it is. I got a 6-month-old. I got to keep it going, right? I got to decide. I got to commit to this podcast. But I went to the gym. He started to teach me some moves. Eventually, he stopped coming with me to the gym, but I still went because I started putting it in my calendar like a meeting. I realized that in order for me to stand on business and actually commit to this, I needed to put it on my calendar and show up like I do a meeting with my boss, right? I needed to commit to going to the gym. So any goal that you have, you got to commit to it. And you actually have to place the time on your calendar or into your life to make sure you commit and show up to it. Seeing the gym meeting on my calendar, like literally on my work calendar, after I was done with work, I would see gym. So that means I wasn't going to happy hour if gym was on my agenda, because that was my meeting with myself. I would literally go to the gym and meet with myself. I had to commit that strongly, and I needed to change my mindset about going to the gym. I needed to go to the gym with that plan. I would literally write out in my notes that some workouts that I was going to do. So I would go do those workouts, track, my weights, make sure I was progressively overloading. I knew a little bit about that, and that's what I would do over time. And in addition to that, I made sure I switched my diet. And next thing you know, I lost those 30 pounds, right? And it was like the most amazing thing. All my levels with the doctor were great. I fit better into my clothes, and life was just so much better because I learned how to not just decide I was going to make a change, but I committed to it, and I figured out how to maintain that change. So when it comes to committing to achieving your goals, that is one of the top things I recommend. You got to stand on business. You got to figure out what are the different aspects, the different steps that I need to change and the actions I need to take in order to actually commit to this change. Now, the second thing I did to work on my commitment to my goals is I had to work on my mindset every single day. Even if it was for 5 minutes, I had to work my mindset every single day, because if I didn't have the mental capacity, the mental toughness, if I couldn't not only see the vision, but become the vision, it wasn't going to happen, right? So some of the things I currently do, because I want to share what I've done now to work on my mindset, is I first have a really great routine. I love to wake up in the morning and set my intention for the day. And what that looks like is I wake up, I journal, and I have 5 questions that I go through in my journal. The first one is what went well yesterday, and I jot down a couple of things that went well. I also discuss what didn't go so well. Then I write 3 things I'm grateful for, 3 things I love about myself, and the 5th thing I do is script out how I want today to go. And this doesn't take me more than maybe like 10, 15 minutes. After I've done that, I like to go straight into my calm meditation, 10 minutes, I meditate. Then after that, I go ahead and read my manifesto. My manifesto is a description of how I want my life to be. So I went into GPT and I put in all the different things I want to be a part of my life, right? I mapped out my 10-year plan and I said, this is what I want my life to look like. Can you create a descriptive story for me that makes me want to achieve that life and just really brings it to life, helps me visualize what I want so I can really feel motivated. And I went, put all of the things I wanted into ChatGPT. It spit out this amazing story. I tweaked it a bit because, it's not perfect. And then I made that the story I read every morning. So every morning I read exactly how I want my life to go. So reading that manifesto really gets me motivated. It reminds me of my long-term vision. It reminds me of why I'm doing the tough things now to get to where I want to be and why it's so important to commit. Then I do my daily devotional through the Bible app. And then I ended off with reading. And reading right now looks like an audiobook because I have a baby. It is what it is. Like I don't have the time to really sit down. It's also just like a waste of my time when I can just listen to an audiobook and be cooking breakfast, changing his diaper, doing whatever I need to do. So that is the second thing that I do. The third thing that I recommend everyone do. So far the tips have been, you got to stand on business. You got to figure out how you're going to commit to what you're deciding to make the change. Then the second thing is you have to work on your mindset every single day. And then lastly is a more tangible takeaway. I want you to create a goals list and I want you to conclude your core desires and your core fears like I was talking about earlier. I want you to really sit down. If you already even have your goals written out, if you don't have your goals written out, I don't know what you are doing. Like go write out your 2025 goals. Think through what you actually want to achieve in your life and make them super descriptive. Like I want you to get down to like, I want to lose 30 pounds by December 31st, 2025, right? Whatever the goal is, like get super specific, get measurable, make it attainable, make it realistic, make it time bound. You guys know what SMART goals are. Like go ahead and do that. After you have the goal written down, I want you to forget about the goal. Not like actually forget, but what I mean by that is don't focus on the result. Don't focus on the goal. Focus on your outputs. Focus on your actions, right? And by doing that, you're going to realize that if you focus on your outputs and what you're doing, you're going to get to your goal way faster. And then I want you to also think about what are your core fears and what are your core desires. Your core desire is pretty much your why behind the goal, why it matters to you, like I was sharing earlier, why it mattered so much to lose that weight because of what I wanted to see in my life. And then also what was my fears? What if I didn't make any changes, what were the negative things that were going to happen in my life? So those 3 things are going to get you to exactly where you need to be in terms of figuring out how to commit to the decisions that you make in life. Now, I want to leave you, of course, with an action item so that you can actually apply what I've talked about today so that you can decide and commit to live your best life. Now, your action item is going to be to create a list of your goals for the year and include those core desires and your core fears. So if you already have your 2025 goals written out, your next step, if you haven't done this, which probably haven't done, I don't know if many people have done this unless you're a part of my Goal Getters group because we talked about this in their 2025 goals workshop. And if you want access to that, that's in the group and you can find information about the group in the description box. But I want you to write down, okay, here's the goal that I have, but here's my core desire. Here's why this goal is so important, right? And get descriptive. If it's something like losing weight or some type of health goal, maybe your core desire is that you want more energy. You want to feel better in your clothes. You want to be more productive. You want to have all of your numbers at the doctor be in a safe zone, whatever it is. And then I want you to write down that core fear. And like I mentioned earlier, my core fears when it came to weight loss was that I was never going to be able to do it, or that I was always going to be sluggish or unmotivated or not have the body that I always thought I could have. But none of those things were true, right? A lot of times when we write our core fears down, we realize that none of those things are true, because if we decide to actually commit to the change and take the actions, we'll always get to the goal. Not always in our timeline, but we will always get to the goal if we really commit and decide we're going to get there. So go ahead and write those goals down and write your core desire and your core fears. And I promise you, you will be so happy you did, because you're going to decide and you're going to commit and you're going to show yourself that you can do any and everything that you want. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, and subscribe to this podcast, and make sure to also share it with a friend. It's really important to share valuable information with others, because we never know what someone's going through, and if maybe this episode is exactly what they need to hear. Now, if you are ready to take your time and your goals to the next level, check out my services at thefireinsidesade.com, or you can check out the link in the description box. And I cannot wait to see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching. Bye.